Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at the Lamy 2000. This is a pen that's been around since the 50s from Lamy, and it's one of their more iconic designs. We'll go ahead and discuss what I like about it, dislike about it, what I'm kind of neutral towards. We'll of course do some size comparisons, writing sample, all of that good stuff. But we'll go ahead and get into the specs first. Let's go and take a look. So first up, the overall length closed is going to be 140 millimeters. Fairly middle of the road pen here. When you uncap it, the length of the body by itself is 125 millimeters. The length of the nib comes out to 7. Very short hooded nib. Length of the cap is 65. Also the weight of the body is 15 grams. The weight of the cap is 10 grams. Overall weight is going to be 25 grams. And the overall length posted is 154 millimeters. Here it is compared to the Vanishing Point, the Platinum 3776, and the Lamy Safari. So you can see it's kind of in the middle of the road here. It is slightly longer than the 3776, slightly shorter than the Vanishing Point. Those two are right around its price range as well, when purchased in the US at least. You can get them cheaper elsewhere. When you uncap the pen, you see it again falls kind of in between some places. It's still shorter than the Vanishing Point, of course, but it is longer than 3776. Not by nearly as a substantial amount as you would think, though, due to the hooded nib. Here it is posted. Comes up to a fair length posted, a little shorter than the Safari, slightly more usable. It's also weighted a lot better. And it's ever so slightly longer than the 3776. Of course, it's longer than the Vanishing Point at this point as well. And due to a viewer request, here it is compared to a Glock 19 that I just had laying around. Everyone here, if you watch my channel, you know I'm a gun guy anyway, so yeah, about 2 of those is going to, or 1.5 of those is going to equal a Glock. So let's go into what I like about it. First thing up is going to be this nib. And I'll kind of give you a close-up of the nib section and all that good stuff in the little ink window here, because it's going to be kind of hard to see later. Let's go ahead and go back to the nib, though. So the flow on this thing and the smoothness are ridiculous. This is probably the smoothest nib I have. The only thing that might come close would be the VAC 700R that I have my Nemesign re-entry nib on. But this pen writes fantastically. It's wonderful. Wonderful writer. The nib's springy, it's smooth. I've had 0 issues with this pen since I got it. I did clean it out, just ran some water through it because Lamy's known to test with blue inks before, so always clean out your Lamy pens. But it's nice. Next thing I like is going to be the section. It's somewhere between this metal and Macrolon where my fingers usually sit. The metal part of the section is not slick though, it is brushed steel, so it doesn't mess with your grip too much, and you can grip it really far back or really close up, however you want to. It's a very adaptable section to kind of whatever you're feeling like using that day, or whatever your natural grip is. Next up is the materials. So this pen's made of stainless steel and Macrolon. Mostly black Macrolon, which is a proprietary fiberglass by Lamy. The rest of it, the trim on it, like the clip, end cap, and the section, are all stainless steel. There is an entire stainless steel model, but it's much more expensive. Next thing is the piston. So the piston and kind of the ink capacity, this is all going to go in one more or less. The piston's very smooth to operate. It's at least as good as the TWSBIs I have, if not slightly smoother. And it blends in so well. Unless you're looking for this seam, you're not going to see it. Leaving a lot of people to think it's, cartridge converter or whatever. But it's just well hidden, and the manufacturing they've done on this is fantastic. It blends in very, very well if you don't know what you're looking for. But because of the piston, the pen holds a pretty good amount of ink. Not a crazy amount, but it's fairly large, as all piston filler pens are. And it does have a small ink window, which is also kind of like the seam in that it blends in if you're not really looking for it. It doesn't stick out too bad, especially if you have a darker ink in there. And with your fingers sitting around it, you're not going to notice it at all unless you're trying to see how much ink's in there. It can be a little hard to view on camera, which is why I gave the close-up earlier. But it's nice. Next thing is going to be the capping and the posting. So when you actually go to cap this pen, it has these little nubs that stick out on either side. This is just so it hooks securely into the cap, and you don't really feel them when you're using the pen. But it caps very, very nicely, uncaps very nicely, very sturdy, not going to come off, and it posts very nicely as well. This is where I'm kind of glad they didn't put the just notches on the body of the pen, then put the little metal pieces inside the cap because it'd scratch up the back. But it posts extremely well, caps extremely well. I like it quite a lot. Next thing up is this clip is hinged. What that means is I can put pressure back here and lift the clip like this. It does function normally. You can just slide it down over a pocket, but if you're trying to get it over some very thick material, that little hinge can help out quite a bit. It's very, very useful for that. And I like the way they did that. Next thing up is just the aesthetic. I really like the things they've done with this pen. It's minimal, but it's still interesting. It's a very nice design, and I like it quite a bit, and that carries to when it's uncapped as well. Next thing up is going to be the price. It says about $150, $160, right on the vanishing point, 37 to 76 range. Next thing is the weight. It's not a super heavy pen, but it's not too light. I like the weight a lot. It's in a very, very good range for me. If anything, I'd make it slightly heavier, but not by much. Maybe a gram or something. But it's amazing. Next thing is the branding. Lamy on the side of the clip, Germany underneath. That's about it. I'll give you a close-up here. So you can see on the left side of the clip and the top of the clip, there's nothing. Blank. On the right side, they have this little bitty Lamy that's kind of stamped in there or etched, whatever. And underneath the clip, you can kind of see where it says Germany. That's really all the branding on this pen, and I like how minimal they kept that. On to the neutral. So first thing up is this material absorbs ink. What that means is when you dip it in a bottle of ink, any ink that gets up on the Macrolon section is going to get absorbed. They don't make this pen in any other colors, as far as I know, with the Macrolon, but if it were, white or whatever, it would stain like crazy. I actually got the Nemesis Blue Snowball Nebula all over this pen, and there would glitter on it forever. It took me forever to get it off, even with water. Next thing up is the color. I have several black pens. I do. But I kind of wish they offered this in more than just black. They do offer stainless steel version, but that's double the price. I would like to see a red Macrolon or blue Macrolon or whatever. Any other color than just black. Next up is the packaging. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just kind of there. It does serve some sort of purpose, though, as a lot of German things are very utilitarian, kind of, in my experience. So you undo this little magnetic latch, and you open it up, and you can see this can hold 2 pens. Now, when you get it, it actually is flipped to the other side, like this, and it only has the Lamy 2000 in it. It sits in there just like this in a little plastic package. It's fine. But if you flip this over, if I can get it, when you flip this over, you can actually hold up to 2 pens in here. They're much smaller cases for this, but if this is what you have, it works just fine. I don't know that you could hold pens that are much longer than the 2000, but that's okay. The actual packaging is made out of, there's a little metal Lamy sign kind of thing, and the rest of it's just cardboard. Okay, on to what I dislike. There's not a whole lot here, but there are a few things. The thing I dislike the most is how sharp this clip is. They didn't chamfer any of this clip except for the very back end. So when you have it clipped into your pocket, which is when I noticed it, I just brushed my hand along the side of my pocket and it caught. And it kind of freaked me out, because what just hit me? It was this clip. The sides are sharp. Like I said, the back here is chamfered a little bit. The sides, top, edges, corners are ridiculous, but it's just sharp. It's not a pleasant clip to brush your hand over. And it's the only fountain pen clip I've ever had that problem with, and I think it's just part of the design, to be honest. Next thing, there's a little bit of wiggle on the clip. You can push it up and down. It's not a big thing, but it's there. Next thing, despite how well the piston knob blends in with the rest of the body, the actual seam near the section, where you can separate the nib unit from the piston and the body, it's not very well hidden. It does stick out quite a bit. You can notice it very easily. And I've tried to get it to line up. And it may be just because of those metal pieces that hook into the cap. But I wish they had done that just slightly better on their end. I think it would have completed this pen a little bit more. Next thing, there's a slight finishing issue on the end cap where the stainless steel meets the Macrolon. I'll give you a close-up of that in just a moment to see what I mean. It's just in the top right-hand corner. It sticks out just a little bit. So you can see there what I mean. It's not a big deal. Kind of had to nitpick this pen, to be honest. Onto the writing sample. Again, this is a super wet, super smooth nib. I love it to death. It pours out a ton of ink, and this is a medium nib. If you watch my channel, you probably already could have guessed that. But it puts out a lot of ink, and you can coax a little bit of, I don't want to say flex, it's a little soft. I wouldn't try to push this though, but with exerting minimal pressure, you can get some flex out of it. But this is not a flex nib. It is hooded. It will break. You will damage your pen. Don't do it. But it writes very well. On to conclusions. For this price range, you basically have the 3776, and the Vanishing Point is the two standouts. 3776 is destroyed by this pen, but the Vanishing Point still kind of holds. It's really up to you. I like both of them quite a bit. This one has larger ink capacity, things like that, but the Vanishing Point has its own appeal. Let me know what you think in the comments about which one you'd pick. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for some upcoming videos. Thanks, guys. Bye.